What do you get when you mix a Harlem hip-hop legend, a love and hip-hop queen, and a possibly shady late-night meet with Camron? Oh, just the biggest betrayal bombshell the Dipset dynasty has ever seen. Yup, Jim Jones just blew the lid off a scandal so messy, so personal, and so damn explosive. Even Mona Scott Young couldn't have scripted it better. Live, on camera, with thousands watching, Jim didn't stutter. He called out Chrissy for what he says was a knife-in-the-back betrayal, all stemming from that infamous night with Camron. And no, this isn't some dusty old hip-hop beef. This is fresh, foul, and flaming hot. So, what really happened behind those velvet ropes? Did Chrissy cross the line with Cam? Is this the end of Dipset as we know it? And why is Jim's own son now tangled up in the middle of it like it's a damn Shakespearean tragedy? Buckle up, fam. This isn't just drama. This is betrayal. With a body count, secrets, scandal, and a voicemail leak that might just end careers. This is the story they don't want you to hear. But we're unpacking all of it. Right now, let's not waste time. It's because what you're about to hear isn't some throwaway tabloid story. This is betrayal with teeth. It's a kind of betrayal that rips through relationships, loyalty, and legacies like a knife through silk. Jim Jones has finally broken his silence. And he didn't just hint at betrayal. He named it, dragged it into the spotlight, and lit it on fire in front of thousands of stunned viewers during a live stream that nobody saw coming. No filters, no PR team in the wings, just raw heartbreak and rage from a man who's had enough. And the target of that rage, none other than Chrissy Lampkin, his longtime partner, and the woman he once vowed to build a life with. According to Jim, everything changed after one particular night involving Camron, a night that's now being called the night Dipset died. And trust me, this wasn't just a lover's spat. This was an earthquake years in the making. It all started quietly, as these things usually do. A few whispers, some side eyes, little moments that only matter in hindsight. Jim had noticed things before, Chrissy disappearing for hours with vague excuses, Camron being just a little too present during private moments, business conversations turning oddly personal. But it wasn't until that infamous night that everything snapped into place. According to Jim, Chrissy had gone to what was supposed to be a harmless industry after-party. Camron was there. Drinks flowed, the music was loud, and everyone was too busy enjoying themselves to notice the tension building in the background. Or maybe they noticed and chose to pretend they didn't. Either way, by the next morning, Jim says everything felt different, cold, or off. Chrissy came home late, distant. Cam stopped answering calls. The energy shifted, and Jim, whether he realized it consciously or not, started putting the pieces together. Now, here's where it starts getting ugly. Fast forward a few years, and those lingering suspicions never really left him. They festered, built up, grew teeth. And while Jim stayed silent in public, insiders say behind closed doors, he was unraveling. Every time he saw Chrissy and Cam exchange even a glance, it lit a fire in his gut. He started questioning business decisions, watching money move in strange directions, noticing who was being left out of what. Dipset was supposed to be built on brotherhood, loyalty, Harlem first, ride or die type energy. But that loyalty, Jim now says, was hollow. Because behind his back, the people closest to him were allegedly playing their own game. It wasn't until, Jim's son came forward that things truly started to unravel. According to a source who's been close to the Jones family for years, the young man overheard something as a child that he never forgot. Whispered conversations, names spoken too softly, phone calls that ended the second he entered a room. He didn't understand it then, but as he grew older and started connecting the dots, he realized what he had stumbled into, and it broke him. Insiders claim the son confronted Chrissy directly, asking her point blank what had really happened. With Cam that night, her response: silence, no denial, no outrage, just that heavy, Soul-splitting silence that says everything without saying a word. And just when you thought this couldn't get any more twisted, a voicemail leaked. An anonymous tip dropped it on a fan forum, and within hours, it was everywhere. The voice was calm, familiar, not confirmed. But let's be honest, anyone who's followed Dipset for the past 20 years knows exactly who it sounded like. Camron. On the recording, he's cryptic, but the tone is unmistakable. He talks about secrets being kept for the sake of peace. He talks about promises made in dimly lit rooms. And then at the very end, a line that sent chills down everyone's spine. Some things were never meant to be public. Bet the truth always finds its way. Asterisk at this point, the internet exploded. Fans went into full detective mode. Twitter threads turned into FBI-level investigations. Reddit pages lit up with timeline breakdowns, photo comparisons, frame-by-frame analysis of Chrissy and Cam in old Dipset videos. Everyone wanted to know, had it all been right in front of us the whole time? And while the internet speculated, Jim made one thing very clear. This wasn't about rumors anymore. This was personal. This was war. He went live again, more composed this time. But the message was the same. He had been betrayed by the two people he trusted the most. And the worst part, he thinks they planned it from the beginning. Now you might be asking, why now? Why speak out after all this time? According to insiders close to Jim, he found out something recently that pushed him over the edge. Chrissy, it turns out, had been involved in a new business venture. And not just any venture, one that directly intersected with Cam's latest branding deal. When Jim dug deeper, what he found reportedly made his blood run cold. Financial overlaps, secret meetings. A paper trail that suggested Chrissy hadn't just betrayed him emotionally, but may have been undermining him professionally for years. The rage he felt wasn't just about love lost, it was about power, about control, about being blindsided in a game he thought he was winning. Sources say that for weeks before the live stream, Jim had been spiraling. Friends tried to calm him. Dow family begged him to stay quiet. But the more he tried to hold it in, the louder it got, till finally he snapped live on air in front of the world. And when he said those words, "She betrayed me after that night with Cam," it wasn't just a confession, it was a declaration. The gloves were off, the walls were down. Tay and everything he had bottled up for years came pouring out like a flood. What's most shocking is how quickly everything spiraled from there. Within hours of that live stream, industry insiders started speaking out anonymously. Of course, people who had been close to the situation for years began whispering to blogs, reporters, podcasters. One former Dipset affiliate claimed he saw Chrissy and Cam leave that party together. Another said he once overheard Cam bragging about knowing something Jim never would. Whether those claims are true or just clout-chasing noise is still up for debate, but the timing? It's very suspicious. And then there's the money. 'Cause where there's betrayal, there's usually a bank account bleeding behind the scenes. Reports are now circulating that Chrissy may have had access to multiple shared accounts. Jim allegedly trusted her with handling major financial decisions. But now that trust is under serious scrutiny. Questions are being asked. Audits are rumored to be underway. And what was once a private relationship may soon become a very public courtroom battle. Chrissy, for her part, hasn't said much, but her silence is loud. She's posted a few cryptic messages on social media. Quotes about loyalty, truth, resilience, but no direct denial. No attempt to clear the air. And in this kind of storm, that quiet is deafening. As for Camron, he's been radio silent too. No interviews, no statements. It's just a few vague posts that fans are reading into like sacred texts, searching for hidden meaning in every word. Asterisk, meanwhile, Jim has gone dark. No new posts, no music, no interviews, just silence. And that silence? It's the loudest part of this whole mess. Because when a man like Jim goes quiet, you know he's plotting something. Something big. Something final. Something that might just blow this entire story wide open. And that's where everything begins to shift. Because what started as a live stream meltdown is quickly turning into a full-blown investigation. Not just by fans, but by people with power, with connections, with a reason to want the truth buried forever. Asterisk. People who once stood in the background smiling for Dipset group photos, who are now frantically trying to scrub their names from old documents and quietly deleting DIs. The deeper this goes, the dirtier it gets. And here's where things take a darker turn. According to one insider, someone who claims to have worked closely with Chrissy on unofficial brand ventures, the entire fallout may be the result of a long-play power move. They say Chrissy wasn't just a passive partner in Jim's empire. She was an operator, a strategist, and camron. Allegedly, he wasn't just the man in the middle of a romantic betrayal. He was the other half of a takeover plan. The same source went on to claim that the night Jim references in his live stream, the infamous Camron night, was more than just a slip-up or one-time mistake. It was a launch point, a private gathering that masked a strategic realignment. Word is, Chrissy and Cam were seen holding what appeared to be very intimate business talks in a closed VIP suite that only a select few were allowed into. People were coming and going all night, some carrying manila folders, others wearing that looked like they just sealed something they shouldn't have. And when the event wrapped, Cam left with someone in the backseat of his car, someone eyewitnesses now claim matched Chrissy's description. But no pictures were ever taken. Phones weren't allowed. The kind of party where things get said that are never meant to leave the room. Till now, almost immediately after Jim's live stream broke. The internet, the whispers turned into hard rumors. Industry people were talking former producers, former tour managers, even past romantic flings started dropping details that had been locked away for years. One voice note, allegedly from someone in Cam's team, claimed Chrissy and Cam had been building their own stack for months behind Jim's back, funneling side cash through ghost accounts and LLCs that Jim never knew existed. Another source suggested that Cam used his old relationship with Jim as cover, leveraging the trust to get closer to Chrissy and influence decisions on Dipset projects. From tour schedules to merch drops, even half of it is true. This wasn't just a betrayal. This was an inside job. Now, let's talk about the money trail, because this is where the whole story starts to collapse under its own weight. One of the loudest whispers in the game right now is that Chrissy had access to a shared financial pool, one that Jim used to fund multiple ventures. From production to fashion, everything passed through that account. But lately, some numbers weren't adding up. Small transfers here and there, a little creative accounting. Until suddenly, a six-figure chunk was just gone. Poof, vanished. And Jim, thinking it was all business as usual, had no idea. That is, until a routine tax prep meeting turned into a panic session. When his accountant allegedly pulled him aside and said, "There's a leak, and it's coming from inside your house." Now imagine finding that out and then hearing a voicemail from the one man who swore loyalty to you say something like, "Some truths are best left buried." It's enough to break a man, and it did. Jim wasn't just heartbroken, he was furious. But not at Cam, not even fully at Chrissy, at himself for not seeing it sooner, for trusting too blindly, for building something with people who were apparently laying the foundation for their own escape hatch while pretending to hold it down. And here's the twisted part. There were signs. Fans have been digging up old interviews, clips from reality shows, podcast guest appearances, anything they can find. In one clip from years ago, Camron is seen laughing when someone jokes about stealing your homie's girl if she got the better plug. It seemed harmless then. Now, not so much. Meanwhile, the public has fully picked sides. Twitter has turned into a war zone. One camp says Jim's finally waking up and standing his ground. Another believes Chrissy is being scapegoated for Dipset's internal chaos. And then there's a third group, the ones asking the uncomfortable question. Nobody wants to say out loud, what if Cam and Chrissy were always more than friends? What if this entire time Jim was the last to know? And while fans dissect every frame, real-world consequences are rolling in, according to a source close to the situation. At least 2 of Jim's business partners have already pulled out of joint ventures, citing reputational volatility, a fancy way of saying they don't want to get splashed with the fallout. A scheduled brand collab was reportedly scrapped at the last minute, and a fashion campaign Jim had been planning for months suddenly went quiet. No press, no launch, no explanation, just silence. The kind of silence that usually means lawyers are now involved, but it gets worse, much worse, because Chrissy's silence. It's not just strategic, it's maybe legally required. Sources say she's already received multiple cease and desist letters from Jim's legal team, demanding the return of financial documents and shared business property. Rumor has it, a private investigator has been hired not just to follow the money, but to follow the people where they go. Who they meet, what they say when they think nobody's listening. And the wildest part, Cam might be next on the list. See, here's what people don't realize. This isn't just drama. This is legacy warfare. Dipset wasn't just a rap crew. It was a movement. It represented Harlem. Loyalty, brotherhood. So when one of its founding members implies, even indirectly, that the bond was broken by betrayal from within, that doesn't just cause heartbreak. That causes collapse. This isn't about one argument. This is about the infrastructure crumbling. There's even talk, and this hasn't been confirmed, but it's spreading like wildfire, that an unreleased recording exists. Not the voicemail, a different one. This one allegedly features Jim confronting Chrissy in a closed-door meeting after finding out about the business links to Cam. Voices raised, accusations flying. Some say it ends with Chrissy walking out. Others say it ends with Jim saying he'll burn the whole thing down before letting them get away with it. If this recording leaks, and it very well might, it could be the moment everything officially explodes. And let's not forget Jim's son. Already dragged into the center of this mess, the young man has reportedly received threats online. Not random trolls, coordinated, organized. Some even using burner accounts that fans believe may be linked to insiders trying to keep him quiet. People are speculating that he knows more than he's saying, that he might have proof. Texts, screenshots, even old photos that could unravel the official narrative entirely. And while he's kept mostly quiet, his recent cryptic social media post raised eyebrows. It's always the ones closest to you. Watch who smiles at your plate. No names, no context, just that. But in this environment, that's enough to light the whole room on fire. As the days go by, the silence grows heavier. No press conferences, no denials. It's passive-aggressive posts, lawyer chatter, and a sense that the worst is yet to come. And for every unanswered question, another rumor takes its place. Some say Chrissy is gearing up for a public sit-down. Others believe she's planning to vanish for a while, let it all blow over. But Camron, it's a man who's said almost nothing. Since this all started, he might be sitting on the final piece of the puzzle. And if the whispers are true, he's just waiting for the right moment to play his hand. Asterisk, because if the whispers are true, Cam's just waiting for the right moment to play his hand. And when he does, this saga could take a turn that nobody, not even Jim, is prepared for. See, this isn't just a personal scandal anymore. This is a ripple effect, tearing through not only Dipset's legacy, but through contracts, finances, reputations, and families. What started as a suspicious night between Chrissy and Camron has now become something darker. Something that's drawing blood in places you'd never expect. Because behind the scenes, this thing is spiraling, and fast. The legal fallout has already begun. Sources close to Jim's legal team claim they're compiling documents, pulling transaction records, and preparing for what could be a very public, very ugly courtroom showdown. We're talking breach of contract, financial mismanagement, and even whispers of embezzlement. And while none of it's been officially filed yet, insiders say lawyers are circling like vultures. Chrissy, meanwhile, hasn't gone on record, but her silence now seems more tactical than ever. Multiple media outlets have reportedly received cease and desist letters from her legal camp, warning them to tread lightly. But let's be honest, when the internet smells blood, it doesn't just back off, it digs deeper. And that's exactly what's happening here. The Dipset fan base, once united, is now divided like never before. Some fans are ride or die for Jim, convinced he's been stabbed in the back and finally finding the courage to speak. Others say he's unraveling, seeing shadows where there are none, projecting years of industry stress onto the people closest to him. And then there are those who think this entire thing, from the live stream to the voicemail leak to the sudden sources speaking out, is one long play for attention, a rebranding effort disguised as a meltdown. But if that's the case, it's a dangerous game. Because now government eyes are starting to twitch. There are rumors, and again, these aren't confirmed, but they're getting louder, that certain financial institutions flagged unusual activity tied to shared accounts connected to Jim and Chrissy. That's not just tabloid fuel, that's Fed territory. One anonymous message sent to a hip-hop blog claimed a government agency has quietly begun preliminary inquiries, not just into potential misappropriation of funds, but into possible laundering through shell companies allegedly linked to Chrissy's past ventures. It sounds wild, sounds like TV, but sources say this might explain why everyone's suddenly so quiet. Because if those agencies are watching, any wrong move could trigger something much bigger. Meanwhile, back in the court of public opinion, Chrissy finally cracked the silence, sort of. During a brief Instagram live session, she didn't name names, but the message was clear. She spoke about loyalty, deception, and people pretending to be victims while hiding the knife they used. It was cryptic, poetic, calculated, and it lit the internet on fire. Fans picked apart every second of that live stream, analyzing her tone, her body language, even the wine glass in her hand. One thing became obvious: she's not folding, she's not running. She's preparing for something, whether it's a full tell-all interview or a carefully controlled PR campaign is anyone's guess. But make no mistake, it's got something planned. And Cam? Still the wild card. Still radio silent in all the ways that matter, except for the occasional social media post that fuels 1,000 new conspiracies. Just a few days ago, he dropped a cryptic tweet. Some things need to burn before they can be rebuilt. No follow-up, no explanation. But fans are convinced he's alluding to the Dipset drama. And some insiders say he's been in closed-door meetings with executives discussing a possible interview series. Not a podcast. Not a press release. A full sit-down on-camera confessional. If that happens, all bets are off. Because Cam knows where all the bodies are buried. And if he decides to speak, the entire foundation might crumble overnight. And that brings us to Jim, the man at the center of this hurricane. Once the loudest voice in the room, he's now gone eerily quiet. No new posts, no new lives. Just a handful of vague tweets, one of which simply read, "They played me. I let them." Another said, "Silence is peace, but it's also power." People close to him say he's retreating not out of fear, but because he's rebuilding, recalculating, reorganizing his inner circle. One former associate described it like this: Jim's not broken, he's pissed. And when he comes back, it won't be for closure. It'll be for revenge. And it's not just about the emotional side anymore. Behind the scenes, deals are being pulled. At least one tour sponsor has quietly backed out. A fashion collab with a major brand. Something that was supposed to drop this fall has been delayed indefinitely. Word is, nobody wants to be the next name dragged into this mess. And honestly, can you blame them? This isn't just a scandal, it's a wildfire, and it's burning everything in its path. As for the sun, the one who accidentally ignited this second wave by revealing what he overheard as a kid, he's gone quiet too. But sources say he's being protected now. People close to the family say he's received threats, real ones, not just internet trolls. Anonymous calls, DMs, from accounts with no followers. A few even believe he's sitting on evidence that could end this once and for all. Something so damaging, so personal, that even the lawyers are nervous about how to contain it. But he hasn't released it, not yet. Which begs the question, what's he waiting for? And so, now we wait. The Dipset empire, once a symbol of Harlem unity and hip-hop swagger, is teetering. Jim, Chrissy, and Cam, once a triangle of talent and trust, are now the center of one of the most shocking hip-hop betrayals of the decade. Fans are watching every move, listening for any sign that the story's about to break wide open. And let's be honest, it probably is. Because with this much heat, something's going to give. Maybe it'll be a leaked video. Maybe a surprise interview. Maybe a legal filing that puts everything out in the open. But one way or another, the truth is coming. And when it does, it won't just destroy reputations. It might rewrite everything we thought we knew about Dipset, about loyalty, and about how far people are willing to go for power. Now, before you click away, ask yourself this. Do you really think this is just about one night with Camron? Or is this the result of years of silence, manipulation, and moves being made in the shadows? Was Chrissy really the villain? Or was she just better at playing the game? And what about Cam? Is he the mastermind? The pawn? Or something else entirely? Drop your wildest theories in the comments. Do you believe Jim's version of events? Is Chrissy playing the long game? And is Cam holding on to secrets that could? Flip this story one more time. If you're as deep in this rabbit hole as we are, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, because this story isn't over, not by a long shot. And when the next piece of this twisted puzzle drops, you better believe we'll be right here to break it all down for you. Because in hip-hop, nothing stays buried forever. And in this saga, the truth might just be the most dangerous thing of all. So now that the smoke's rising and the truth is clawing its way to the surface, I need to know, what do you believe? Is Jim Jones the last real one in a world of snakes? Did Chrissy play the long game and finally cash out? And Camron? Is he the puppet master, the silent witness, or just the slickest guy in the room who somehow dodges every bullet? Drop your theories in the comments, all of them. The messier, the wilder, the better. Because let's be real, at this point, your guesses are probably just as accurate as the official story. And hey, if you've made it this far, that means you're as addicted to this drama as we are. So don't play coy. Smash that like button like it owes you money. Hit that subscribe button like Chrissy hit that mysterious wire transfer. And turn on the notification bell, because you don't want to miss the next bombshell when it drops. And trust me, it will drop. This is hip-hop. Betrayal, scandal, and strategy all rolled into one flaming saga that's only getting hotter. Thanks for watching, truth seekers and tea spillers. Stay woke, stay petty, and remember, in the game of fame, loyalty is a luxury and everybody's got a price. I'll see you in the next one.